Tuesday, September 26th. Today was our second game of the season and our first home game at Tangerine Middle. The opponents were from Kino Middle School. They wear black uniforms with silver letters, pretty sharp. Henry D told me they beat us last year. We had an impressive turnout of fans. In fact, I've never seen so many fans at a kids' soccer game. Some of them are obviously regulars because they brought along water and tangerines for the team. I recognized Teresa and Louis Cruz. They were standing with a man who looked like he could be their father. Was he the Thomas whose name was written on the truck? There were a lot of mothers with little kids. A couple of ladies had lawn chairs, but everybody else, and there must have been 100 kids and grown-ups, stood for the entire game. I saw Chandra talking to a lady, and I overheard somebody say, "That's Chandra's mother with her." That got me wondering, why is my mother here or my father? They could be watching this game. So could Joey's parents. If we were playing football, they'd all be here. We were all more relaxed before this game, except for Victor. He was already talking trash to some of the Kennel players, reminding them about something that had happened last year. They were giving it right back to him, saying stuff like, "Hey, Guzman, why are you on the girls' team? Couldn't you make the boys' team?" We started with the same lineup, with me on the sideline. This time, though, I was standing next to Joey. He's now wearing number 19 for the War Eagles. The referee was clearly a cut above the last one we had. A Kino defender took Maya down in the penalty area and he blew the whistle right away. Maya drilled the penalty kicker upper right into the net and we were up 1-0 in the first minute. But these were not the Palomito Whippoorwills. They had a good offense. They were fast and they knew how to move the ball. Chandra was very busy in the goal. She looked sharp out there, really on her game. That's what I think when I watch Sandra in goal. How sharp she looks, how big she looks, like one of those American gladiators. What must people think when they see me in goal? How small I look, how goofy I look in my goggles. Dolly and Mano sandwiched a guy in front of our goal and got whistled for it. Penalty kick. Chandra never got a hand on the ball and it was only 1-1. I wouldn't have gotten a hand on it either. At least I don't think I would have. Standing on the sideline for this game was a pleasure after that awful time we had at Palmetto. These were two teams who know how to play soccer. Some highlights: Maya stopped on a dime and passed the ball to Tino, who drove it into the goal. They came back and scored. Henry D lifted a beautiful corner kick into Victor, who leaped up and headed it into the goal. Then they came back and scored. At halftime, it was 3-3, and there hadn't been one fight. We all gathered in a circle on the sideline to eat our tangerines. The coach said "good game" to a couple of players, then spent the rest of her time talking to Chandra about the three goals, how she shouldn't think any more about them, how she should adjust for the second half. Finally, she looked over at Victor. "Captain, do you have anything to say?" We all turned toward Victor, and we saw why he hadn't been talking or drawing any attention to himself. He had his hand pressed against his forehead, trying to stop a trickle of blood from running down his face. It was in the same spot where he had smacked heads with the Palmetto goalie. The head ball that he put into the net must have reopened the cut, because it was sure bleeding now. He said, "No, I got nothing to say here. I'll do my talking out there." Betty Bright walked over and pulled his hand down from the cut. She shook his head and said, "Is your mother here today?" He snarled, "My mother? No, my mother's not here. What are you talking about? Tino, please ask your father if he'll drive Victor to the emergency room." She turned back to Victor. "I'm sorry. I should have had this stitched up when it happened. It's never going to heal like this. I hope Mr. Cruz can take you now." "No way. I'm not going to any emergency room. I got a game to play," the coach said. "Not this game, Victor. You get yourself together for the next game. We'll have to win this one without you." Then, without even thinking about it, she turned to me and said, "Paul Fisher, you're in for Victor." Victor continued to protest. "It's not even bleeding anymore." "Yes, it is bleeding. You should see your shirt." "I can play this half and then go." "You're already gone, Victor. Now deal with that." Victor looked at me for a few long seconds. Then he turned to address us all. "Who wants to win this game?" Everybody in the circle looked back at him, not knowing what to do. Victor shouted, "Do you want to win this game?" And we started yelling, "Yeah, yeah. Do you want to win this game? Yeah, yeah." Victor reached out and fixed his clenched fist in the middle of the circle. We all leaped up and put our hands in on his, and as he started the chant, "War Eagles, War Eagles," we started moving our hands in unison up and down, changing the chant into the frenzied cry of "War, War, War." We opened the second half with fire in our eyes, even though we had me instead of Victor. This time it was the defense that sparked the rally. They wouldn't let the Kino players cross the midfield line with the ball. Mano, Dolly, Hernando, they kept pounding the ball upfield to the strikers. Maya was getting the ball a lot, more than in the first half, and she was making things happen. She beat her defender to the outside and then crossed the ball into Tino, who scored the first goal of the half. We didn't celebrate. We came right back at them. Maya hit one in herself, a beautiful looping shot into the upper right corner of the goal. The Kino goaltender never even saw it coming. The defense got to the ball back upfield immediately. Maya dribbled right, and three defenders went after her. She lobbed the ball back over their heads, and guess who was standing there all alone in front of the goal? This time I didn't stop to think. I kicked the ball as hard as I could. I glanced off the goalie's left hand and carried it into the net. I'd scored a goal. Had this ever happened before? I just stood there staring at the net until I realized that my teammates were hurrying to line up again. I was still trying to remember any time when I had ever scored a goal when Maya got another one in a long cross pass from Nita. She raised her foot knee high and smacked the ball right out of the air into the net. Suddenly, this tight game was a 7-3 blowout. The coach started sending in other subs. She sent Joey in for Hernando. She sent one of the sixth graders in for Maya, who got a loud ovation from the fans. The Keno players never recovered from that assault, although they did manage to move the ball into our end of the field. It turns out that Joey's a pretty terrible soccer player. They had no trouble beating them again and again. Chandra had to make a few tough saves near the end, but that's probably what Betty Bright wanted. The final score was Tangerine 7, Kino 3. Mr. Cruz and Victor came back right at the end. Victor had a line of black stitches going up his forehead, like Frankenstein. He fell on his knees in thanks when he found out the score. Then he started high-fiving with the starters. He called over to me, "Hey, Fisherman, you were me out there, right? How many goals did I score?" I shrugged. "Sorry, Victor, I could only get you one." Victor looked at Tino to confirm this, and Tino nodded. Victor stepped toward me and held up his hand. I high-fived it for all I was worth. Tuesday, September 26th, later. The portable phone rang just as I walked past it in the great room. I heard my grandmother's no nonsense voice. "Hello, Paul. How are you?" "I'm fine, Grandmom." "You didn't get hurt in all that sinkhole business?" "No, no. Oh, no. No, I got pretty dirty, but not hurt." "And how are you otherwise?" Mom walked in and mouthed the words, "Who is it?" I said out loud, "Grandmom," and she reached out for the phone. I signed off. "I'm all right, Grandmom. Here's Mom." Mom always seems eager to get on the phone with Grandmom and Grandpop. Dad and Eric certainly don't. They make them so scarce. Mom began to tell her mother about the sinkhole and the emergency relocation plan. So I made my way upstairs. It sounded like she was going to be on for a long time, which is why I was surprised a few minutes later that she opened my door and held out the portable towards me. I mouthed the word "Grandmom." She whispered back, "No, a girl," and laughed. Puzzled, I said, "Hello?" "Paul? Hi, it's Kara Clifton from Lake Windsor Middle. Do you remember me?" "Yeah, how's it going?" I couldn't think of a thing to say, so she continued. "I just wanted to find out how you like Tangerine Middle. Joey says it's really different. I don't know what he means by that." "Neither do I. Maybe he just means that it's a tougher place." "Yeah? So what are the kids like?" "Some of them are pretty tough. They have gangs and stuff, but the kids I'm with are cool." "Yeah? So are you going out with anybody from there?" I was shocked. No one had ever asked me that question before. I said, "What do you mean?" "Joey said he thought you might be going with some girl from there." "He did?" "No, no, I'm not." "Uh-huh. Oh, do you remember Carrie, my friend Carrie Gardner?" "Yeah, sure. I almost forgot. I told her I was going to call you, and she said to say hi." "Oh, okay. Well, tell her I said hi." "Yeah, you want me to tell her you said hi?" "Yeah, sure, yeah." "So you kind of like her then?" I froze. I suddenly felt like someone was looking at me through some of those two-way mirrors I didn't say anything else, so Kara finally said, "Okay then. It's just that she's a friend of mine, and she asked me to say hi, so I wanted to make sure I did." "Okay, let me get off now. Maybe I'll be seeing you around sometime with Joey." "Okay, bye, bye." I sat there for a minute, stunned. Then I turned the phone back on and called Joey. "Hey, your girlfriend just called me." "Kara?" "Yeah, what did she want with you?" "She started asking me if I like Carrie Gardner." "Oh, okay, say no more. You know what they were doing, right?" "What?" "They were scamming you." Girls scam guys all the time with that. Carrie was listening in on that extension. "No, yeah, that's how it works. She has her friend call you up and find out what you have to say about her. It's kind of like a hidden camera interview." Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. So Carrie was on the other end? Yep. So what do I do next? About what? About Carrie? Well, if you want to talk to her, you call her up. Okay, but what if I don't call her? Am I going to be hurting her feelings or anything like that? Nah. You're taking all this stuff too seriously. They're probably calling up half a dozen guys tonight and asking them the same thing. It's like a phone survey. Uh huh. So what about that Adam guy, that one from the carnival? Is he still going out with her? Hey, what am I? People magazine? I don't know. I don't even see those guys anymore. Uh-huh. Well, maybe if you hear something, you can let me know. Yeah, okay. I gotta go eat. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Right. He hung up and I took a deep breath. I held on to the phone for a long time. I thought about the situation from all different angles and in all different ways. No matter how I looked at it, my conclusion came out the same. One escapable conclusion. Carrie Gardner knows about my glasses, but she doesn't think there's anything wrong with me.